Hello, everyone. Have you ever wondered about Pilates, what it's about, why you should try it, if you want to try it, why athletes do it? Well, if you've ever wondered about this at all, this segment is about Pilates. I was also interested in finding a Pilates instructor who is also a veteran, and that's why in this episode I am interviewing Davina Wong. So stay tuned to find out why you should try Pilates. Who is it for? Can you do it if you're injured? How it prevents injuries and why you should try it. I hope you enjoy. Hello, Sisters in Service. Welcome to another episode. And we have with us today, Davina Wong. Davina, welcome to Sisters in Service.
Nice to be here. I'm so thankful for you having me on today.
Well, it was a pleasure. I will tell you, our audience, how we met. So I'm a Pilates instructor, and so is Davina. And I was interested in how many Pilates instructors were actually veterans. And I found the other one. I think it's just me and Davina. And so
I think so.
So I wanted to bring her on and talk about the art of Pilates, what it's about, why you should do it, etc. So Davina, tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Davina, and I'm a Los Angeles native. And I am also a Pilates instructor and a master trainer with Club Pilates. And I've been teaching Pilates and being in the practice for about 10 years or so or more. I've lost count.
I know. After a while, you're like, how many years has it been?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, a long time. And then I'm also a 20-year United States Air Force military veteran as well.
Air Force. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm okay with that.
What did you do when you were in the military? What was your job?
When I was in the military, I had actually a couple jobs. My first job was actually a F-16 avionics technician. So I worked back shop avionics,
Wow.
for about 13 years. And then, because if some of you guys are familiar, the F-16s are phasing out. So, and my job was going away, so they didn't really need me. So I had to find another job to transition to, and I actually went into the family support center. So I went from maintenance to working with families, which is really awesome.
Talk about the opposite end of the spectrum. So did you actually choose avionics? Was that something you wanted to do? Or did they just say, you're going into avionics?
I actually did. So, nice. As we go into MEPS, we have to figure out what kind of job we want to do based on how we test it. And I joined right out of high school. So as someone who's 18, finding what jobs were available. Oh, I'm going to work with F-16s? Okay, cool. Sign me up. So I thought it sounded amazing. And of course, going into the Air Force, why not, right? Work with jets. So that's how they hooked me.
My husband was in the Air Force too, and he was in intelligence. So he would tell pilots how to tell if a plane in the air was friendly or not friendly. So even now he'll look up and he'll go, that's a F-15. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And he finds it so funny that I was in the military for 20 years and I can't tell you an F-18 from an F-15 or F-16. Okay. And I said, look, I didn't maintain it. I didn't load it.
That's true.
I didn't fly it.
I didn't do
that's
it. Right.
So, why should I know about it? But it's funny, to this day now he can look up and go, And he said he can tell by the engine. And I'm like, wow. Okay.
That's true. I mean, but you're right about that. If you're not exposed, especially if maybe you weren't based on a fighter base, then you don't know. You can't
exactly.
tell.
Exactly. I knew they were loud. Yeah. So Davina, when you said you're retired Air Force, so I'm starting to add this question in because it seems to still be
an issue coming out of the military. And what I found is that with women veterans, the longer they're in, the harder their transition seems to be. So for our audience, tell us a little bit about your transition. Was it easy? Did you know what you were going to do when you got out? Or did you find that it was a little more difficult than you anticipated?
And called an ART, Air Reserve Technician. So I did the same job during the week as I did on the weekends. So it's
wow.
As far as work goes, it's like similar to active duty, but you just, you know, there's differences as who pays the bills, you know, all that stuff. So I did that for 13 years, or no, even more, about 15 years. And over time, as I had to transition out of the F-16 avionics position, I had to look for other jobs. And, you know, as military, we stick to the government. We're like, this is what we know, and this is what we're an expert at. So as an F-16 technician, avionics troop, I'm like, oh, well, I've got my CCAF, I've got my degree, but how can I transition this to something on the outside world?
The civilian speak.
And exactly, to civilian life. And I managed to find some jobs in the avionics realm, but it was not the same. You know, it was kind of hard. So I was like, okay, so yeah, I mean, the way they run things is way different than what we're used to. The discipline, just, you know, paying attention to the little things. So I had a hard time. And so instead of staying in the civilian world with avionics, I went back into the government side of things, the government side of the house, which I felt fine. I was like, okay, this is...
It made more sense to you,
Yeah, it was what I was used to. But then over time, I started to think to myself, as I was getting close to about like 15 years in service, I started to think, okay, do I really want to do this the rest of my life? And then it was at that moment in time, actually, around there, I found Pilates. I found Pilates maybe like a little bit before, and I started to do that part-time because I loved it. And then, you know, we can talk about that later. But I started thinking to myself as I was working with a friend of mine, he asked me one day, he's like, Davina, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to do this for the rest of your life? I was like, no, I want to be a full-time Pilates instructor. That's what I want to do. That's my passion. Right. But of course, government jobs is secure. The money's good. You've got benefits. It's really hard to pass that. So it is because you get that same security you had in active duty, and then is
only
just
you
over
get paid
to the
more
civilian
money.
side.
You have more freedom to move around.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really hard to transition from going into an area where everything's taken care of for you, in a sense. So as far as like, you know, finances, money, insurance, to, okay, I'm going to take a big step and then go into this new career where I don't have all that in front of me. So I have to figure that out myself. But the same friend told me this story about how this friend of his worked for the government all the way until like 65, whatever the age is, right, for retirement. And they kept saying, okay, I'm just saving up. I'm just saving up. And then after I retire, I'm going to travel, do all these things. And then to find out, after his friend retired, he passed away not too long afterwards. So yeah, it's a really sad story, but it opened my eyes to things. I was like, oh,
do what you love
I don't
now.
want that.
Do it now.
Yes, do it now, because you never know. Life is too short. So upon hearing that, I made a choice. I told myself, okay, I'm going to find ways to transition out of the government completely as I try to finish up my last few years in the reserves. And so it's hard. I had to really plan everything. I had to make sure all my ducks were in the row and make sure I had some kind of retirement. I had some way of getting insurance for my health and just having enough money so I can survive. So it took a lot of work, but after I'd say years of planning to make sure I'm on point, because of course us military folks, we want to make sure everything's planned and we've got everything,
our systems are in place.
Yes, exactly.
So I want to change the subject just a little bit. What was your favorite location to be stationed? Do you have a favorite, or did you stay in the same place?
No, I did go to different areas. That's a hard one, because I really, in every location, every base I was at, of course, as we all know, there's always really good parts of it. So, I would say my favorite would be when I was at Hill Air Force Base. Yeah, and the reason why, I think, has a lot to do with my transition. From going into a full federal government military employee to going into Pilates. And it's really where I discovered myself a lot more. And all my friends there were super supportive, both military and civilian. And they're still some of my closest friends that I really hold dearly to my heart. And so I would never forget that experience. Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears and talk about Pilates. So,
okay.
How did you find Pilates, or did Pilates find you?
I think Pilates found me for sure. So, with Pilates, I stumbled upon that because, well, let's see, this is back in the time when I was at Hill Air Force Base, and as like I mentioned, I was transitioning and I was in a new place, and of course, we have to maintain our PT scores. So with PT, I was trying to find new ways to work out and maintain my health and fitness, but in ways where I didn't have to go to the gym all the time, because I'm not a fan of the gym. I didn't like going on those machines and just doing the same thing over and over. So I started doing some fitness around locally in the Utah area, and I found, before transitioning to Pilates, I found circus fitness. So in going into circus fitness, I loved it. It was really good, and I did aerial silk, trapeze, all the fun stuff that you may see now.
I've done that before. That's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, right? And
yes.
And so when I was in that circus fitness, I also started to do contortion, just because I've always been very flexible.
Oh, you're one of those bendy Barbies. You know, oh, you want me to put my leg around my neck first, and then okay.
That's me. That's me, bendy Barbie. Exactly. So I started going to contortion, and I started practicing contortion both in Utah and back at home in LA, which is my home. And my contortion instructor mentor said to me, Davina, you're very flexible, but you can't hold any poses. And of course, I'm always very determined to get it done. I asked her, like, what can I do? Like, what can I do to make myself better? And she suggested Pilates. Because she does Pilates as well. And I don't remember if at that time she was an instructor, but she is now. And I said to her, okay, I'm going to do it. So, because I wanted to hold those poses and look really pretty.
Yeah, everyone always has, it's funny that the people that are instructors, when you first start in your Pilates journey, so I was working at a club in Boston, and we got 2 free sessions because you work there. So I said, well, let me try Pilates, because I've been doing personal training for a long time. I did 2 sessions with 2 different instructors, and I said, I don't get it. I don't understand what this whole Pilates thing about. It's stupid. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I was training a client, and she said, how did it go? And I said, it sucked. I don't want to do it anymore. She goes, you didn't go see Maureen, did you? And I said, no. So now I have to pay for a session. Okay. And I'm mad. I'm not happy. I have to pay now. And she kicked my butt. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the simple, now I'm a really strong, I'm not a NOT in capital letters, not a bendy Barbie. Okay. But I was super strong. And she would say, oh, just do
Mm-hmm.
this. And I'm like, okay. And I couldn't do it. And I thought, oh, I'll show you. I'm going to buy more sessions. Because it didn't make sense why I couldn't do this, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's funny that I always talk to people, and I found that the people who do Pilates are the students, and the people who are students of Pilates become instructors.
That's
Mhm.
true. That's so
Yeah.
true.
And so it's, you know, some people just stay, you know, have an instructor, and they stay, you know, because it helps them in so many ways. But, you know, I was
Mm-hmm.
determined. I was just like, you know what? No, this is not going to beat me. I need to know how to do this. And at the time,
Uh-huh.
it made me stand out, you know, because personal trainers just, you know, like, oh God, they're a dime a dozen, right? But when you say, oh,
Yeah.
you're also Pilates, what's Pilates? You know, so they start to get
Mm-hmm.
interested. So for our audience, um, why did you decide to become an instructor?
Oh, okay. That's a easy one. I fell in love with it.
Hmm.
Just like your story, Kat, right? When I went in for my first session, it was hard. I've only heard about Pilates. I've never tried it. I actually got a Groupon to try it out because it was super expensive. It was not the most affordable thing in the
Right.
world to
Hmm.
start with. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to just drop in a load of money and then maybe not like it
Hmm. Right.
or
Right.
whatever,
You start
right?
off a little bit at a time. Yeah.
Exactly. So I took that Groupon. I had a few sessions. The first one was so hard. I didn't know what I was doing, but everyone did everything flawlessly. I'm like, wow, how are
Doing
they
that.
doing that so
I know my
well?
instructor's
Yeah.
just like, just press it out and bring it. And I'm like, I can't do this. What's the problem here?
Yeah.
So anyone
Yeah,
who doesn't do
exactly.
Pilates, you're probably going, I have no idea what they're talking about. But those of you that have
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
Pilates and thought this is really hard, yes, it is. Okay.
It is. It
Hmm.
is when you're really doing it correctly and connecting that
Hmm.
mind body connection. But to go back to your question, I think why I really want to be instructor is just I fell in love with it. I loved how it made my body feel. I loved how I was there was like some kind of a little bit of a meditative
Hmm.
uh source to
Hmm.
it. So I really love that. And also on the military side, it helped me with my PT. So I was like,
Yes.
yes, okay.
Yes.
I found a way to enjoy the practice
Hmm.
and I don't know, I just love it. And I wanted to share it with everyone else
Hmm.
because I knew how it felt in my own body. And I wanted to share that with everyone else that they can all do it. Everyone can do
Right.
it.
It
And
it
as long
doesn't
as they
matter
put their
who
mind
you
to it.
are, what you do. You know, I always say that
Yes.
Pilates is for every, and then body, the word body is in caps because it's for every
Yeah.
body. You know, it doesn't matter
Yes.
what you do, what you don't do, you know, whether you've had an
Yes.
injury or whatever, you can still do Pilates. So, Davina, for our audience, explain what your definition is of Pilates.
Oh, my definition of Pilates is a lifestyle.
Hmm.
Definitely a health and wellness lifestyle that really incorporates everyday functional living
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
Pilates. Like, I don't know if people realize that, but it really does. The way you sit down, the way you hold yourself,
Hmm.
it all has to do with Pilates and how Pilates can help you function in everyday life. So it's life.
Oh, it
Pilates
is.
is life.
I always tell my, you know, my clients, I'm like, take your Pilates with you, you know, or I'll have a new
Yes.
client walk in, and as they're talking to me, I'm scanning their body. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I'll say, why
Yeah.
does your shoulder dip? And they're like, I didn't know it dipped, but they're having hip problems. And I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
we're, you know, in Pilates, we are taught to teach to the body. We just don't throw exercises at
Yes.
bodies. We look at your
Yes.
body, we see where you're strong and where you're weak, and we work on that. So it's the one thing I love about Pilates is that it exposes your weaknesses. So you heard Davina say she was super bendy, but she had no strength. I was super strong. I was not so bendy. So whatever it is that you're having a problem with, it'll bring that to the forefront, and it's,
Absolutely.
oh yeah. And it's more of just being able to increase your core and which
Yes.
increases your posture. And that's what I love about it, is that people, especially women, we do everything with our thighs, ladies. Sorry. We just do. Our core is like, oh, I'm on vacation, and our thighs take over whether you want them to or not. And so when I tell clients that when you walk, your core is controlling your gait and how you walk and how you stand. And I get that little, how dogs cock their head to the side, like they don't understand that's kind of what I get. I'm like, just wait, you'll see, you'll see the difference. Who is Pilates for? What kinds of people? What kinds of bodies?
Pilates is for everybody. There's no discrimination. Right. People will come to me and say, "Oh, I couldn't do Pilates," and I would say, "Yes, you can. I guarantee you, there's going to be some benefit that you didn't know, maybe that you had. Maybe it'll, excuse me, it'll correct some rounded shoulders, or maybe some pain that you were having in your low back, or millions of things. The sky's the limit." And I just tell everyone to just try it. You might really like it.
I think it's hard for people to understand that everything's connected. They'll say, "Oh, my knee's hurting."
Yes.
And I'll say, "Wow, do you always stand like that?" And they're like, "Stand like what?" I think what Pilates does, it makes you aware of your body and space where you're at.
Yes, absolutely.
And once you're aware of that, you're aware of it everywhere, no matter what you're doing, sitting, standing, walking, whatever sport you do, you're just more aware of it. And I think that's important. Mm-hmm. The one question I get a lot from people is they don't know whether to do yoga or Pilates. And so they always ask, what's the difference? So for our audience, can you tell us your take on the difference between yoga and Pilates?
So when I get that question, it's depending on the person, I cater to them. But basically what I tell them is, with Pilates, in comparison to yoga, there's more of a focus with concentrating with some of Joseph Pilates' philosophies, mm-hmm. right? With concentration and breath and control. And I think a lot of it I focus on is control, like controlology, right? Controlology is where it came from. And that mind-body connection to focus on strength. Whereas with yoga, I also practice yoga mm-hmm. as well. It's fabulous, but it's more of focusing on the meditative mm-hmm. side. Whereas with Pilates, it's not as deep into the meditative side. There is that mind-body connection. You still have to focus on the breath to connect it. But in comparison with yoga, it's a little bit more of trying to reach that strength and flexibility, which we do too in Pilates, but there's a little bit more, I would say, like functionality mm-hmm. to it. Absolutely. With Pilates in comparison to yoga. Not saying that there isn't functionality in mm-hmm. yoga, but I think we concentrate a little bit more with it. It's how we present ourselves in Pilates as we do in everyday life. As I mentioned, in functional life, functional movement, mm-hmm. How it helps us. Mm-hmm. So that way, if we turn around in our car mm-hmm. and we're using our core and we're turning in the correct way, we're not gonna pull a muscle and hurt your back. Exactly.
I mean, you hear some of the stories of people saying, "Oh, I injured my back. They just came back from rehab," and you're like, "Well, how did you hurt your back?" And they go, "I was reaching in the back seat of my car," and I was like,
Exactly. And that's the one that I do
Yeah.
here. It's like they're trying to like tell their kids something and then they turn too fast and they pull a muscle. Like, okay, we've got to teach you how to move correctly.
Right.
So I think really what it is now that I've said that is just with Pilates, we're teaching everybody how to move correctly in a pain-free motion with functional daily life.
I think one of the things that I always tell people is that in yoga, it's mind body because you don't have to think. You can let your mind go. In Pilates, you're using your mind to control your body and do what you want it to do. And so when they ask me that question, I'll say, how strong is your core? And if they say they don't have a core, I tell them to do Pilates. And they'll look at me and go, well, I'm just going to do yoga. I'm like, okay. And several weeks later, they come to Pilates because they hurt their shoulder or they hurt their back doing something. So you still have to have core strength to do yoga.
Yes.
Okay.
That's absolutely true.
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
So being in California, have you had any celebrity clients?
Oh, I actually have not.
Oh.
Being in California, I haven't, but I will say that the studios that I have taught, we've had clients like football players, like from the Chargers. Yeah. We've had like influencers. So that much I can say, but as far as my own personal clients, I haven't.
Well, I think what's great is that finally that professional sports and sports across the board. Okay. I've had swimmers that were trying to make the Olympic team, not me personally, but they've been in our studio and they worked and worked and worked and they shed like tenths of seconds, which is the difference between bronze and gold, that they actually made the team and actually medaled. Football players, of course, basketball players and ballet. Okay. Again, bendy Barbies, beautiful, beautiful because when they go on point, and for you ballet people out there, if I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me, that they lift with their core and not with their legs. So they look effortless as they lift. But a funny story, again, in Boston, I come in early to the studio and one of the instructors is teaching a client. And I thought to myself, wow, this client looks a lot like Sting.
Oh.
And so he is doing advanced reformer. So anybody who does Pilates, and doing it well. Okay. And so, he leaves and everything. And I looked at the instructor, Maureen, and I said, was that Sting? And she goes, yeah. So I'm looking on the roster and I said, I don't see Sting on there. And he had some random name like Bill Brown, And so we were at the concierge and this guy, obviously British, and he goes, yes, is Bill Brown here? And I was like, Bill Brown? He goes, Bill Brown? And we're like, oh, Bill. I said, I think he's done with this session. He goes, okay, thank you very much. And he goes into the elevator. And I said, tell Sting we said hi. And he said, will do.
Awesome.
So it's getting out there more, that what's amazing about the football players is that they're so super strong, but so constricted at the same time.
Yes.
And I've had football players say, this was harder than any workout I've ever done.
Oh, absolutely. Seriously.
And they come back.
Oh my gosh.
So one of the things that I find too is that men tend to think that Pilates is just for women. LeBron James does Pilates. I mean, there are a lot of men who do Pilates, especially golfers. So if anyone's a golfer out there, Pilates is amazing for golfing only because it protects your back. It teaches you how to use your core and so that you don't hurt your back. But it's for any sport. It doesn't matter, but it's going to make you stronger in ways that you can't even imagine. So if I'm interested in Pilates, what kinds of things should I look for in a good instructor? What's a good instructor to you?
To me, a good instructor there's a few things. One, who knows how to teach to the body in front of them, right? As we mentioned,
Absolutely.
and also knows how to modify. Like, you want to have an instructor that you can go to. So if, say, even if you are a regular and you've been practicing, but maybe one day you're just not in it today for whatever reason, it could be a million reasons. You want that instructor to be able to modify you or give you modifications whenever you need to, because we all need it. I know I do. Like, sometimes when I take classes from other instructors, I'm just like wiped out for whatever I did before. And I just need that modification, and I'm still going to do it very well. So someone who can modify, someone who can give a lot of motivation and positive reinforcement.
Right.
You don't want to have an instructor who's just going to say, "Oh, you can't do that? Okay, then you're not good, or you can't do that." No, you want someone who's going to lift you and motivate you and help you to understand that how this movement is going to benefit you either in the studio or outside world. Something that's going to change your life, right? And lastly, I would say is just to have an instructor you really connect with, because I think the more you connect with that instructor, the better you're going to feel in the session. You're going to feel more comfortable talking to them. I always kind of see it as, through my career, it's we're kind of like the fitness barbershop, right? Right?
Exactly.
When we have our private clients, they become close to us
they
because
absolutely do. Yeah.
they tell you everything,
I know.
and
you find out things. You're like, okay, I did not know that, but thank you for telling me.
They're trusting you with
to
their
keep
body.
safe.
So you as an instructor, yes. So you as an instructor have to really pay attention to that. So for clients out there, find someone you really connect to, that you trust, and you know that they're going to do everything they can for your well-being.
And I think one other thing is ask lots of questions.
Oh,
I was one of those people. Well, how come this and why this and blah, blah, And my instructor answered every question to my satisfaction. Not that I was berating her, but I'm like, well, why do I have to do it this way? Why can't, And she would say, because, and she would tell me, I'm like, okay, good to know. So sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask, but you want to feel safe, and you want to be in an environment where you feel relaxed. Now, there are going to be times, and I have this happen with all of my clients. You'll have one day you come in there and you just blow this Pilates routine out of the water. You are a 10 out of 10, and you think you've got it. Okay. And then you come in the next week and it's hard to sit down, let alone do anything. You understand your body's different on different days. Like, your body's different now than it was this morning when you first woke up. Okay. So you have to realize when your body's under a lot of stress, it's going to show up in your Pilates. Okay. And I can look at my clients and go, okay, what's going on with this hip? And they're like, oh, I was doing a lot of sitting this week. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell,
Yeah.
And I always tell my clients, they're like, oh, I cheat all the time. I go, don't worry. I cheated so much. When I mean cheat, I mean your body goes to the path of least resistance. So what that means is if you can't take your legs straight up, it's going to go where it thinks is straight up. And in your mind, and your body's telling your mind it's straight up to the ceiling when it's not. Okay. And I cheated so much that I even made up a few of my own, because that's what your body does until it opens up enough that you can do these exercises. The other thing I might add is, if you're still not sure, ask the instructor if you can sit in on a session or a class and watch what they do. Does the instructor give each participant in a class equal attention? Now, keep in mind that some people might need more than others, but, is the instructor paying attention, or are they gossiping about, what happened over the week or on TV? And not saying that we've done that too, but in certain situations and certain exercises, that could be dangerous. And then ask them also, could you give me an intro session? Just to see if you guys vibe,
absolutely.
And, to give you that, and I do that all the time. I'm like, when people say, I have no idea what this is, I'm like, just come in for a half an hour session free of charge, and we can just go through what this is and see if it's a good fit for you,
Exactly.
What kinds of sports benefit from Pilates?
Oh, whew,
I know all of them, right?
But I got all of them, exactly. It's hard to pinpoint one.
I know it is.
But a lot of the ones we see now out there, we've got like baseball players, right? We had the picture from the World Series doing Pilates. Football players, most definitely, because like you said, they get so tight, but they can't move. They're just so compact in their body, so they need to be able to twist and turn and move correctly. Swimmers is another one. Like you said, golfers, basketball players,
ballet dancers.
Ballet dancers, surfers.
I don't think there is a sport that wouldn't benefit from it. Because
I would have to agree.
So one of the things I hear a lot is, Pilates is so costly. Why do you think it costs more than other forms of exercise?
Well, one, you have instructors who have taken many hours, go through anatomy, go through continuous education, so they can be experts at what they do. And so, as instructors, we take our jobs really seriously. We're working with your bodies. We're going to do whatever we can to help your well-being. Any in cases of rehab, if you need to do any rehab, we can help with that. So there's just endless amounts of education hours behind what we do. So to have to pay for that and the special attention that we give you to, as we say, we cater to each body. We're just not throwing exercises out there and everyone's just going to follow. No, I'm going to make sure that everyone's doing everything correctly and practicing correctly and not develop bad habits, which could lead to injury. We want to make sure you're doing everything in a pain-free motion. So we're really looking out for your well-being.
Absolutely.
Each
so
individual
you're teaching
person.
to the body.
That's why.
And
absolutely.
Well, I think too is that and there are different certifications for Pilates, but I had to have 2,500 hours of observation. Trust me, it was much more. Okay. I had to pay for lessons myself. I had to, we had a beginner, intermediate, and advanced tests, practical and on paper. And it wasn't like true, false, multiple choice. They would give you a body, like 40-year-old woman, weak wrist, blah, blah, blah. We'd have to write out everything for her, for this imaginary body. It's when you put all of that together, I tell people, I said, you're not paying for Pilates, you're paying for my expertise. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why I feel comfortable enough giving away a half an hour session, because I want them to get it. That's what instructors want most, is for you to get it. What I mean get it is when your brain, we call it the aha moment. When they go, oh, you mean this? And you're like, yes. And then they get it. It's that light when they go, oh my gosh, now I understand. And so we wait for that moment to happen. And sometimes it does, and sometimes we're still working on it, just saying,
That's true.
So Davina, where can people find you? Are you on social media? Are you on, well, of course you have an email, but what's the best way? Well, I hope you do anyway. What's the best way to contact you if someone in your area would like to come and see you in action?
If someone wants to come visit me and have a session with me, they can contact me on Instagram. You can find me, my handle is Davina W Pilates. So it's like Davina Wong Pilates, but so it's just Davina W Pilates. Or you can also find me on Facebook as well, under just Davina Wong. I'm a Club Pilates master trainer as well. So if you follow Club Pilates on Facebook or Instagram, you might catch me in some of the little advertisements. So you can find me in the North Hollywood area too.
That's
So if
great.
that's where you're at.
Davina, thank you so much for being a part of this. It's so much fun to dish with someone about Pilates. I mean, I could have done this by myself, but it was so much more fun with Davina.
To have someone exactly pretty much like my twin,
we're Pilates twins,
to understand it. Yes,
but
exactly.
It's fun to just get people to understand what it is. And it was fun to dish about Pilates with you. And
yes.
You guys know how to contact Davina if you need her or want her to be your instructor. I implore you that if you're having any kinds of issues, that, Pilates might be that thing that you need for now. It may not be forever, but it might be for now to get you back to where you need to be. So, Davina, thank you so much for coming on. And we will speak soon.